In this video, we are going to review the most common faults and error codes for the Panasonic brand related to compressor issues in air conditioners, along with their possible solutions. Error code H16. This error is related to low current consumption in the outdoor unit. This issue could be due to a refrigerant gas leak, which reduces the compressor's current consumption, or a fault in the IPM power module. To solve the problem, these steps are recommended. 1. If the unit stays on for a few minutes, use an ammeter clamp to check if the current consumption is indeed low. 2. If the consumption is really low, but the unit tries to operate, check for oil stains that could indicate a possible refrigerant gas leak. 3. Finally, if you have not found the fault, inspect the components of the outdoor unit's electronic board, verifying connections, and focusing on the IPM Smart Module, whose diagnostic procedure we will review later. The following codes have similar diagnostic procedures. Error code H97, related to a defective compressor motor. Error code F90 indicates an open circuit in the compressor windings, a difference in winding resistance, or a fault in the inverter board. Error code F93 refers to open compressor windings or malfunction of the inverter board. Error code F99 associated with the DC current protection system, caused by possible issues such as compressor jamming, transistor module failure, malfunction of the current sensor on the outdoor unit board, or compressor winding resistance below normal. Steps to resolve these faults. 1. Disconnect the unit for several minutes, and then turn it back on to check if the error persists. 2. If the error continues, use a multimeter to check if the unit supply voltage is correct. 3. With the unit disconnected, focus the diagnosis on the outdoor unit and disconnect the compressor's power supply. 4. Using a multimeter on the ohm scale, measure the resistance between pairs of pins. The resistance values should be practically the same. 5. If the resistance values do not match, replace the compressor. 6. If the resistance values are correct, locate the power cable output from the board to the compressor and check the condition of each cable. There should be continuity from the electronic board output to the compressor motor input. If everything seems to be in order, focus your diagnosis on the IPM Smart Power Module. 7. To diagnose the IPM electronic module, follow these steps. 1. Disconnect the equipment from the power supply. Remember that capacitors can store current. Use a multimeter on the DC voltage scale to measure across the capacitors and ensure they are discharged. 2. Locate the IPM electronic circuit. The IPM electronic circuit is covered by heat dissipating fins. Its pins are connected via 3 independent tracks and an electrical connector to the 3 compressor pins. 3. Positive power supply. Identify the high voltage positive power supply of the IPM electronic circuit by tracing the positive track from the largest high voltage capacitors to the IPM electronic circuit. 4. Negative power supply. Identify the negative track from the capacitors to the IPM electronic circuit by tracing the negative track from the largest high voltage capacitors to the IPM electronic circuit. 5. Identify the output points U, V, W. These can be identified by following the tracks, from the compressor connectors to the IPM electronic circuit. 6. Set the multimeter to the diode scale. 7. The IPM electronic circuit is internally composed of 6 IGBT transistors, each containing a diode that we will test. Let's start with the integrity test of the first 3 diodes. A. Place the black probe of the multimeter on the positive input of the IPM electronic circuit. B. Use the red probe to measure the points U, V, W. C. The minimum voltage activation values should be around 0.45 volts for each measurement. D. The measurement obtained between the negative supply and each pin, U, V, W, should yield practically the same reading. Let's proceed with the integrity test of the last 3 diodes. A. Place the red probe of the multimeter on the negative input of the IPM electronic circuit. B. Use the black probe to measure the points U, V, W. C. The minimum voltage activation values should be similar to those obtained previously. D. The measurement obtained between the negative supply and each pin, U, V, W, should yield practically the same reading. If everything seems fine with the IPM electronic circuit, you can perform the following test. A. Connect the electronic board to the power supply, taking the necessary precautions. B. Set the multimeter to the DC voltage scale at 400 volts. C. Place the red probe of the multimeter on the positive power supply of the IPM electronic circuit. D. Place the black probe of the multimeter on the negative power supply of the IPM electronic circuit. E. The power supply value will depend on your electronic board's power supply, expecting values around 150 volts for a 110 volt supply and approximately 300 volts for a 220 volt supply. F. If no power appears, the issue with the external electronic board lies in the power supply, and not directly in the IPM electronic circuit.